That's my week, alongside a bunch of Leifeng Cups cast, top dogs tonight, WardiTV League qualifiers tomorrow, and some SGL matches as well. So it's a busy week. A busy week as we have to the top left-hand side. Our blue Terran player is Bunny. And Bunny is going to be going up against the red Protoss. To the bottom right-hand side of the map, it is Stats. Why not cast Esther Innovation? So I decided not to cast Innovation because I didn't fancy casting the TvT between him and Alive, because I feel as though I've cast so many TvTs lately. And especially in like SGL and Leifeng Cup, we end up with so many TvTs all of the time, it seems. So I decided to go for a little bit of TvP. I think this was a pretty fun match. I did want to cast Zest, like I really did want to cast Zest, trust me, I'm like a big Zest fanboy. When I met him at Home Story Cup, I was like, hi, I know you speak no English. I actually went up, I actually got Solar. I actually got Solar to talk to Zest for me. I was like, hey, can you tell Zest that I'm a big fan? They're like, I really love his players. They're like, I don't fanboy very often, but when it's Zest, I don't know, man. It's a little bit different. So yeah, that's pretty sick. Got a photo with him. I wonder if I got a photo on my phone or my camera. I think I got a photo on my phone with Zest. I'm trying to get my phone out of my pocket to check. Let me see. I'm pretty sure I got a photo with Zest on my phone. Yeah. And he looks like a god, and I just look like shit. I mean, what's to be expected in Zest? But yeah, I would have loved to cast some Zest, but again, I really wanted to make sure we got into a match, started to bring you guys some StarCraft, rather than waiting, just in case, if one of the, if Zest or Gumiho doesn't show up, then, it's, then I'm sat waiting for a match that isn't starting. So I really wanted to make sure that we just got started. Because there isn't a check-in for the Leifeng Cup qualifier. Players just sign up, and they're in the bracket. There's no check-in process. So if they signed up 3 days ago, and they just don't show up today, then, if I was sat waiting for that match, it can sort of mess me around a lot. So that's why we're not going to cast Zest just yet, because he just wasn't online. Nor was Gumiho, like neither of them were online, hence why I took another match. Stats, after an expansion here, going to put down a Stargate as its opening. We're going to see 2 Hellions on the way out from Bunny, Tech Lab coming down on the barracks, and the Starport starting to build as well. I'm also going to say, I mentioned this in the chat just before, but I'll say it right now as well. This is probably going to be the last Leifeng Cup I cover, or maybe even the last day or two of the Leifeng Cup I cover. Base Trade TV are going to be casting the Leifeng Cup from Wednesday onwards. So I haven't decided yet if I'm going to finish Leifeng Cup number 158, or if I'm going to just not cast from Wednesday onwards and just cast today and tomorrow. So I'm not sure just yet, but Base Trade will be covering this event, and I'm not a big fan of covering the same event as someone else when it's the exact same matches that you cover, so it's probably going to be my last Leifeng Cup coverage. As you see, this Adept just going to be taken down here, actually. Very nearly gets a Hellion. Really nice trade for Bunny, because obviously he can repair this Hellion up, which he should do. Yeah, it doesn't make much sense not to. And it is a kind of interest opener, and Cyclone on the way, a Liberate as well, Marine. He's got that barracks on the Tech Lab, so it looks as though he wants to go into a stim. He has another Adept comes forwards, and Stats is going to lose this one as well. And this one Hellion is continuing to get battered, but it's still around, and he's picked off 2 Hellions now. Stats, no real need to lose the second Hellion, second Adept, sorry. That's a little bit of a mistake, honestly. As he did make an Oracle, he did make this first Phoenix as well. He is going to continue going into Phoenix-based production, but not too much going on. We actually missed something across the map, sorry. I think 2 Hellions already came across here. I do apologize. I was too busy watching the other side, so my bad. So the Oracle's just helped us defend 2 Hellions, basically. He's going to catch 2 more with these Phoenix, so really good defense from Stats. I mean, generally, when you have a Stargate-based opening, you're going to have a very good defense against the Terran player who's trying to be aggressive in the early stages on one base or so. And that's simply because it's just super easy to kind of get the right, you just kind of, you have the counter to everything. The Oracle can fight against Hellions quite easily. The Phoenix can lift them up. You can lift Widow Mines. You can Revelate to detect. It's such a solid opening. You can chase down Medivacs as well. You can shut down Liberator play. So many ways to shut all of those, these different things down. No surprise that Phoenix Stargate openings are somewhat popular in the matchup. It's really a good way, if you're really struggling to defend in the early game, I really think opening Stargate with an Oracle into Phoenix is maybe one of the best ways you can open. Yes, it delays your other tech, and maybe it makes holding off kind of mid-game drops a bit harder because your blink's a bit later or whatever, but you just cannot deny that an early Stargate is the key to just shutting down so much of this early aggression. I mean, if it's Cyclones, you can lift up, and you can do so much more as well. As we're going to see, the third Nexus is up here from stats, the right-hand side. Oracle still just flying around. Is that the only Oracle? I was sure this Oracle was somewhere else, but it obviously just did come back home, and I didn't quite notice it. So that's happening. A few extra gateways coming up as well. And we're just going to be seeing, what, like 8 gates in total? But it's on 3 bases, so it's fairly standard. +1, and also Resonating Glaives coming up too. So going to be a very adept-focused build order so far from stats, going into the mid-game, while our Terran player gets into all of those bio upgrades we know and love. I mean, such a classic sort of trio of upgrades to see nowadays. Stim Pack, Combat Shields, and Engineering Bay +1 attack upgrades. So just going to be setting up into all of those upgrades, and just making sure he's very ready for the mid-game. Knocks down these rocks to keep his third base a little bit safer. Just give one less pathway of attack to the Protoss player in these early stages as well. And this single Marine is going to lead out the front here from Bunny to have a little bit of a look to see what's happening out on the map. So the single Marine will lead the charge, and we do see some Adepts starting to move through the center towards the upper left-hand side. Another Oracle here, as the same Oracle still around, and again just dropping this Revelation now and then. And with this Resonating Glaives and +1 finishing, it will be a little bit of aggression coming out of stats. You know, he is going to try and attack. It's his own timing that's kicking in as well. Now, Combat Shields is 10 seconds away. I think he will get Combat Shields in time, because I don't think Glaives will finish up beforehand anyways. And that's a pretty major deal, because it does affect kind of how much damage these Adepts are going to... No, how much damage, but how quickly these Marines die to the Adepts. So it actually makes quite the difference. We're going to see these Adepts are going to commit in, no doubt about it. SCVs get pulled, Marines will kite backwards. Here come the Phoenix to try and help out, get rid of a few more Marines. But I think you can just sort of see here that Bunny is not going to have enough. Way too many Adepts from stats, and this timing has worked out beautifully from him. I think Bunny just committed into too many units early, which never became any use at all. This Liberator never moved across the map. He made a Cyclone, which did absolutely nothing. The first 4 Hellions didn't really do much either. And so, with all of that combined, he doesn't have a bunker or anything up or a wall to defend against this Adept-based timing, because he didn't see that it was an Adept-based timing. And because of that, he's just going to kind of die here as stats moves across the map and just picks off pretty much every single unit. I mean, he's picked off 30 workers now. He's continuing to trade against these Marines as well, fighting against a Widow Mine or 2. I mean, he's just going to be able to keep on. If he doesn't kill him now, he can back away, and, you know, he just rebuilds for like 2 minutes or something, then comes across the map, and his army is just going to be so much larger. And we're going to be seeing these 2 Phoenix coming forward from stats, and just going to be continuing to work their way through this Medevac. So one Medevac going to go down, and again a couple of Marauders, a couple of Marines at the front who continue to fight as they kick down the last couple of Adepts. But again, I mean, even the third base is very nearly going to go down here. It's on fire and burning. As the Phoenix actually going to come over to try and chase that down, you can just see the number of Adepts walking in. It will mean that Bunny will type out GG, and stats is going to be taken. Saying like, so what if other people are casting? Sometimes we like watching your stream. I mean, I've got to look at it like this, right? If I cast a Leifeng Cup for 3 or 4 hours, and I'm casting the exact same as a larger stream than me, which is going to cut my viewership down massively, I have to look at it and say, well, is it worth me putting those 3 or 4 hours into the stream when maybe I could do something else, which would overall be more beneficial, you know? I've got a lot of stuff to get done, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense for me to cast the same as other people if it's not going to really, you know, if it's going to be bad for my viewership, and then I can do other things instead, you know? So it's just from a logical standpoint. As we have to the bottom side of the map, our blue Terran player, it is Bunny, coming in here. I'm looking to see what he can get up to. And to the northern side of the map, our red Protoss player is Stats. Alright, so Stats to the northern side, we're going to be seeing this probe coming in. And he's going to be building up a Nexus. So Nexus comes on down. And just going to be from both players. Nexus, after gate, super early, versus CC first. So I mean, super fast expansion is what I was going for with both players. So both players go for super fast expansion. For a moment, I actually thought this was a Nexus first, just because of the CC timing. But then I was like, oh no, there is indeed a gateway. So indeed, there is a gate up over here. So gate Nexus, again, CC first into 2 racks, and there's the third racks as well. Super standard, off of a CC first to go into 3 barracks. I'm only just going to play a nice standard bio-based opening here. I mean, I'd say nice and standard. Obviously, bio-based openings aren't seen too often anymore in the matchup. So to see a bio-based opening, it's to see a bio-based opening is actually a little bit different, just because usually you expect to see sort of, you know, 1-1-1, the barracks, the factory, the starport, some sort of Widow Mine drop or something, and something like that. I mean, sometimes you see like a 2-1-1, but you know, sometimes you see 2-1-1, but that's sort of the extent of bio openings. So, they're going to move down the left-hand side. I'm just going to be scouting down and having a little bit of a look to see what they can get up to. So, moving down towards the bottom left, I'm just going to be having a little bit of a look to see what's going on. As you see, there's Adept just going to move up the ramp. Adept just going to take a little bit of damage here as these Marines just going to be coming forwards and helping to push this away. Stargate coming down as well on the main base. And we're just going to be seeing the Oracle / Phoenix base play once again, I guess, from stats. Oracle on the way to begin with. And 2 extra gateways starting to come on down. As we wait for this Oracle, then thank you very much, Bill and Laurel, for the 3-month resub. Can we get some more love in the chat, please? Thank you very much for the resub. Been a lot of resubs in the last few days. Obviously, I mean, to be expected, I guess, if I was away for a lot at the start of November, so a lot of people didn't get a chance to show their resubs, so I guess it feels like a lot now when I guess they were coming through for the first half of the month, really. But, yeah, we're just going to see this Oracle popping out from stats and moving down to the south side and looking to see what he can get up to. See Phoenix on the way as well. See Robo Facility starting to come up from stats too. So pretty similar opening to the last game. I can't remember if he went for the Robo at the same time as this sort of first Phoenix or so you have to forgive me. But I imagine he did, because I remember the Twilight and the Forge coming up at the same time. So it really does just look to be a very similar build order here out of stats in Game 2. And honestly, I mean, why not just stick with what worked? And the other thing is as well that stats can also kind of follow up differently. He doesn't necessarily have to follow up with the big Adept attack. He could follow up with, say, something like... if he doesn't want to follow up with a big Adept attack, he could go for, you know, like a Blink Stalker play in the mid-game. You know, there's ways he can change it up as well off of what is basically just an opening now, a way for him to get to 3 bases quickly, safely, and effectively. Gonna see this Oracle, gonna fly around a little bit more, and still looking to pick up some damage here. Only won 1 kill so far, picking up a few Marines. I mean, Marines aren't the best thing to pick up with the Oracle, but it's better than nothing, you know. Some damage is some damage. I'm just going to see these Marines just going to start moving just out of the main base. I'm just going to start moving up the left-hand side, so... Benny just gone to attack up this left side, and we'll be moving towards the 3rd Nexus here in the very near future. A couple more devs in the center warping in. There's the Twilight Forge, so this is exactly the same as the last game. I mean, the Robo did come down at that time, I would imagine, then. So this is the exact same as the last game. The Oracle is going to... oh, no way. Stays alive on 2 HP. I thought it was dead to that turret, but nope. Just going to stick around. So Oracle stays alive over here, as we see again, the Twilight and the Forge coming in. I don't like the positioning of this. It's very close to the edge of the base, which means whenever a drop comes in, especially considering it's a bio-based opening, right? Let's hold that focus. Marines will stim in towards the 3rd base. I mean, the first stim's okay. Oh, nice force field as well to block them out. Yeah, this is actually completely fine for stats. He can fight this, and he knows he can fight this as well. Keeps his sentry alive too. Trades out depths for Marines. He'll be very, very happy about that. So those Marines will fall. Now, Twilight and Forge, what I was saying is that this is very vulnerable to drops. You know, you imagine that drops come in here. One of the first things they're going to see is this Forge, and, you know, they're going to go Pylon, Forge. It's such a great set of, you know, structures to pick up for stats, for Bunny, because he will deny those upgrades super quick. So I don't like that. You know, build it here, Forge and Twilight, because it's just that little safer. The Nexus is a lot tankier, can take some shots. It's a lot less likely he's going to run past the Nexus to target down a Forge. And it's a lot less likely he's going to drop in here in the first place, unless he has medevacs up here from a previous drop, in which case you know about them, and you have a much better chance to prepare. Obviously, Stats feels very confident he can defend this with Phoenix and so on, but, you know, what about when, you know, 10 minutes later into the game, when he doesn't have Phoenix, when he's still maybe investing into a +3 upgrade or something, if, you know, things go crazy. I just don't like how vulnerable these buildings seem to be. That said, they might actually be a bit safer here than I think, because you see how Stats is positioned in his pylons. He's obviously very reliant on the overcharge to defend this natural expansion, which is very open to drops. And so I guess these pylons will keep this Forge fairly safe. But it's something to keep in mind, even if we don't really, you know, maybe if even if Stats isn't really in the wrong here, it's always worth knowing as a pros player, think about where you place those buildings. You know, place buildings you can afford to lose, like some gateways or something towards the edge, and the more important structures, you know, really solidly in the middle of your main base, you know, where drops aren't going to find them super quickly. And see another SCV coming up the left-hand side. I'm just looking to see this SCV continue to move up here. So SCV continues to move up this left side, just going to try and find out what's going on. I mean, Stats went for the same sort of setup, but he's not going to commit to the big Adept attack. He actually went to the Robo Bay much faster, and that's going to be the difference here in this game for him compared to game number 1. So his first Colossus already pops out, and the second Colossus is starting to come on up here now as well. There's 2 more gateways get added on, so pretty standard stuff at this point, as we can see Bunny continue to come up this left-hand side with an SCV. Still not sure about that. I guess he just wants to watch for the 4th base. And there's a couple of medevacs to the right as well, and for the most part a very passive game where the Terran player is sort of being allowed to do what he wants, which is sort of a weird thing to say, because usually it's the Terran player who stops the Protoss player from doing what they want. But obviously, compared to the last game, the Terran player just got shut down very early by a Protoss attack. So what I think we need to see really from Bunny is him to start to take a little bit of control of this game, you know, really start to try and find some openings. I mean, it's difficult on Varney. This map is known for being a super defensive, easy to defend on map. Yeah, I mean, you can jump up into the main base here, but when Stats has his army split between his third base and his main, and his natural is so well defended by pylons and overcharges, it's very, very difficult to realistically find a way to attack into him. But if you don't start trying as Bunny, I really feel that Stats is just going to be allowed to build up this super... not super late game, but he's going to be able to build up the army he wants, and you know, then it's generally the Protoss player who benefits from having all of that tech in their army. If they can get into multiple Colossi, Stalkers with Blink, and whatever else they want to go into. He's added on a Fleet Beacon in the second Stargate now, which could be for Tempest to help fight against the Liberators. Maybe he's just going to show us the power of Carriers, which seem to be pretty good in all the other matchups. Probably won't be Carriers, probably will just be the Tempest. I mean, they are still very good at fighting against those Liberators. You're going to see a big drop in towards the natural expansion, and here we go. First pylon overcharges. Stalker's going to pick off 1 full medevac already. And it's a complete and total defense from Stats. Didn't even have to use that much. 2 overcharges, a few Stalkers warp in. The Phoenix obviously help out a little bit as well. I'm just going to see these Depth Stalkers, Sentries. And still the Colossi as well, just collecting together to the left-hand side. The 4th base for Stats is about to finish, so he gets into this with no problem at all. And it really just feels as though Bunny is not able to find a way to pressure his opponent in any way, shape, or form to kind of put himself into a bit of a better position. See this, Widowman just going to burrow a little bit further forwards right now. As see these units continuing to come down towards the bottom left-hand side of the map. See Tempest production starting, so that's exactly as what we expected off of these Stargates. As here we go, another drop in towards the natural expansion. This time these units are going to get in, and here we go. We're going to see these units moving forward. They're actually going to go straight for the probes. So a lot of these workers going down. Now he's going to go straight for the Nexus as well. And then he's going to trade out with the Stalkers. Not too really sure what he wants to do here, as the Liberator Mine defense at home for Bunny might be enough to push Stats' army away. And these Medivacs will lift up, and they'll back off. So his Medivac's going to get away here. It was a good trade for Bunny in the natural expansion. It was actually probably one of the better drops he could have gotten. You know, once he, you know, if that drop gets in there, it's scary, right? Because he only has 4 Stalkers. Like 2 Phoenix won't do much. You know, the defense for Stats was very much so focused on never letting this drop in. Once the drop actually gets into the base, he finds himself in a whole world of trouble. Just going to be seeing these 3 units just over to the right hand side. We do have the command center coming up on the gold base as well, so you can see our 4th base for the Terran player being established too. This 3 Medivacs units are going to get away before the main army finds it. This Marauder gets left behind. Poor guy. Sometimes you just got to be the guy who stays out on the map. Don't know why, you just have to be. Sorry Marauder, that's the way life is right now. A few more Liberators coming up this right side. Taking the watchtower here for a couple of moments. Just again, Bunny moving around, looking to see what else is going on. Observer here. And to the left-hand side as well. Again, all these bio units collecting up together. 3 Medivac's going to load up. And Bunny is going to head on over to the right-hand side. So he's going to head on over to the right. And I'm just going to be seeing Stats with a few more units coming forwards here. Picking up a Marine on the watchtower as well. And this drop again, looking to find a way to get some more damage done. Planetary Force is now at this 4th base. Liberators are not sieged up just yet. And that's still going to be a little bit late for our Terran player. Finally going to start sieging these up though, as he pushes on forwards. He doesn't have Liberator range yet, right? No. So no advanced ballistics. Starting to add in these, the rest of these units. Ooh, here we go, the Tempest ability. I actually haven't cast a game yet where the Tempest ability is being used. Does it stun the Planetary Force? Does that actually work? Like, seems legit. Anyways, big drop once again into the natural of the Protoss player. Here we go, targets that Forge. Very vulnerable to drops as soon as they get in here. And +2 armor is cancelled, so that's a little bit of a nuisance. He also loses the Nexus. I mean, in this case, it doesn't matter that it was on the edge. So before I was making a point of before, it doesn't really apply this time around. But anyways, main fight is going on here. His Stats is obviously going to hope to win this, considering he's taken so much damage back at home. He is going to keep his Tempest alive, which is huge. Every single Tempest survives. Every Colossus survives. This is a huge victory for Stats in the skies. I mean, on the ground as well, he's got an overwhelming army, and as long as he can clean up with his drop at home in the end, he should be completely fine. A big warp in of Adept or something just to slow this down, and he should be good, as he will also move in towards the Terran's main base and start to shut down the Terran production. So things are not really looking brilliant right now for Bunny. He's, well, shutting down pylons, he's shutting down gateways. This drop is an issue. An overcharge comes down, lasts about 2 seconds, doesn't really do anything. The Viking gets shut down. A turret's going to pick off the Tempers, not that you see that every day, as we're going to be seeing They'll just sat around in this main base, and I mean, Bunny's going to do what he can with these units across the map. He's shut down so much of the production of his opponent. I mean, is there any gateways anywhere? There's like one forge building over here. So the answer is no, not really. Tempest, Colossi are now actually fighting turrets as well. I think eventually, though, I mean, this kind of drop that's on the map, well, I mean, I guess in terms of base trading, maybe Bunny can make this happen, but I think eventually Stats just leaves a few units in here and sends the rest back home, since he's pulling Stalkers, his mobile units back. And he can eventually just clean up the rest of these, so a scary few moments for Stats perhaps when he's like, oh my god, he's killing so much, but when he wins that big fight, I think he recognizes straight away that, hey, like, this is very, very good for me. I'm pretty okay here. Lots of pylons continue to go down. Stats, again, doesn't really have power on gateways, actually doesn't have a Nexus anymore. He only has 2 probes. I mean, it's not an unwinnable situation for Bunny, but I do still feel as though Stats has to make some mistakes to really allow this to, you know, to go the way of Bunny still. You're going to see this CC and the natural expansion forcing to be lifted. We're still just going to be seeing this base over here is going to be a little bit of a, well, it's going to be kind of the last base standing for a little while, but you know, it's starting to gather together in that direction. This main drop to the top left is still, well, just gathered together to the top left-hand side. I'm just going to be seeing the few Adepts continue to pick away wherever possible. A couple more Vikings trying to come out. I mean, Bunny had a lot of money a few moments ago. He started up 4 Vikings, I guess. I was going to say maybe he started another CC, but I'm not sure. He actually had like 1,400 minerals, so I'm not sure where all that money went. I mean, the Vikings are fairly expensive. This doesn't look like he's building 1,400 minerals and stuff, you know? I guess he built a lot of turrets, actually. A lot of these turrets he was building with that money. We're going to see the Tempest stun coming down again. I guess just aiming to hit the Planetary Fortress. I mean, I suppose it works. Like, Planetary Fortress now doesn't fight back. Like, it's pretty crazy. I mean, it doesn't last, like, super long, but it does last long enough to, like, actually get a pretty decent amount of health off the Planetary Fortress. So actually, it's not a bad idea. It's kind of crazy that one Tempest stun can shut down a Planetary. That actually seems pretty sick for breaking Planetary Fortresses and so on in terms of PvT. And Stats is continuing his base trade. He's got a Nexus down here as well, by the way. He rebuilt this. We saw this on the screen earlier. I didn't mention it. But that's pretty huge. The fact that he does have another base on the way up, or up already, is really, really nice. He can slowly rebuild if he has to. He can defend his base super easy. Like, there's no way you drop this base and kill it before this army kills you, unless Stats does this, which is move out with his entire army towards his opponent's side of the map, you know? For Stats, he just has to leave half his army on this Nexus, and then he can chase with the other half of his army. You know, that's all he has to do. Leave a reasonable amount here, and then he cannot lose this game. It's just not possible. And it means he can also, with this mining, eventually get a Stargate up, which means eventually he does have a way to shut down any buildings which are floating in the corners. It just might take a little while for him to get there. 0 SCVs on the map for Bunny, so he really only has what is currently around. A few Stalkers chasing a Medivac. Actually, this could get pretty bad for Bunny right now. He's in this main base still, and the Tempests are closing in with the Colossi and Stalkers. You can see the Stalkers are like sitting around, maybe hoping to catch these Medivacs. Maybe like before. I thought he was going to leave them like around here to catch them on the way out. Anyways, I mean, the Tempests will do a good enough job. As Fire will have to lift up here in a moment. We'll get away. Blink Forwards actually gets a full Medivac unit. Well, that's obviously never a great sign for Bunny. Losing entire Medivac units is pretty brutal. As we're going to see, these Medivacs do get away. A few Adepts still around from Stats and starting to pick his way through this reactor here in the main. And I guess just going to drop down and, well, continue to move around, but there's units left over here, which is what we expected. That means he can fight this. A couple of Marines go down instantly, and he's going to try to target the Nexus, but surely he knows that this is a... Well, I mean, to be fair, it's not a bad attempt. He gets it to, like, you know, get the shields off of it, which isn't bad. He's actually going to get this Nexus very low with these Marauders. Like, wow. If he'd killed that Nexus... You know, just think about this for a moment. If he'd killed that Nexus, I don't think Stats has enough... Oh, he has another Nexus building. Oh, okay. If he'd actually killed the Nexus,